genocidal militia. Satellite images and UN reports show the UAE is arming a paramilitary group, which is trying to take over Sudan by force. The country's civil war has displaced 12 million people and left 25 million facing acute hunger. The UAE rejects these accusations, but evidence of its role backing the rapid support forces is overwhelming. So why is it involved? One argument is that the UAE wants Sudan's gold. There are multiple gold mines in Sudan, including here, and here. And gold is important to the Emirates. The country has become a gold refining hub, and gold is now its most valuable non-hydrocarbon export. But here's the thing, the UAE already imports almost all of Sudan's gold. What's more, the Emirates has a $500 billion economy, so importing slightly more gold doesn't make much of a difference. Another argument is agriculture. Sudan has more land that could be used for farming than any other African country. That interests the UAE, which is highly dependent on imports. As a desert country, 90% of its food comes from abroad. But the UAE already controls tens of thousands of hectares of Sudanese farmland and imports tens of millions of dollars of its crops. Others suggest that the UAE is after geopolitical influence. Sudan has a large coastline on the Red Sea. That makes it a strategic location for trade and security. But there's another explanation, a more compelling one. The UAE seems motivated by ideology. Its president, Mohammed bin Zayed, is fiercely hostile to political Islam. In Sudan, Islamist officers wield power within the army. That seems to be why the UAE is backing a militia that's fighting against the army. It follows a pattern of the Emirates trying to carve out its own sphere of influence, distinct from regional rivals like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey. A few years ago, it supported a warlord who unsuccessfully tried to overthrow the government of Libya. It supports secessionists in Yemen. It also backs the leaders of Puntland and Somaliland, two breakaway republics in Somalia. And the UAE is skeptical of the Islamist-led government that has emerged in Syria. But nowhere has its foreign policy had more devastating consequences than in Sudan, where the government accused the UAE of complicity in genocide. The UAE's policy has managed to anger America, China, and Russia. No small feat in 2025. Even though the RSF has lost some ground, there are no signs that Emirati support for the militia is waning. That means its role
river that's just behind me here, but it's more than 75,000 people. That's like a sports stadium full of people suddenly arriving here. And this is where they're ending up. They're coming out in this area and they're just sitting under the trees. This is the only shelter that they have got. And this goes all the way down this bank of the Nile, all the way in for a couple of miles into that area. Huge numbers of people, and they have nothing. They grabbed what they could. They came here. It didn't have very much food with them either, and certainly the water isn't clean. These guys here with these buckets on their head, that's water collected from the Nile. It's dirty, bad water. And we've already been hearing, I'm sorry to swing you around, but on this side we've got the clinic that's been set up by Médecins Sans Frontières. There are two small clinics, a handful of staff in each, and they've been trying to deal with increasing numbers of people who are coming in with really bad diarrhea, among them many children. We've heard of babies who've died of diarrhea because they haven't got facilities here, no water, no shelter, no food. There is, of course, in the background here, you might be able to make out, the first signs of aid coming in here. Now, this is truckloads of food. The committee, International Committee of the Red Cross, they've come in and they've brought food and they've brought supplies, and they're trying to do this in an organised way. You can see the queues of people here waiting. They've been organised by which area they're from to try and ensure that this is given out fairly to those people who need it most. But more needs to come. It's a 5-hour drive up a very bad road here to reach this area, and the UN is already aware of the situation these people are in. It is a humanitarian crisis. The fighting is continuing across the river. That's a problem. There are people over there who can't any longer come over on boats because it's too dangerous for them. Even to get here where there's nothing is better than being in a town that's being held by the anti-government forces, and there's a serious risk.
attack on Khartoum International Airport. The Rapid Support Forces seized control, plunging the capital into chaos. The airport.
When we liberated the palace, we were very happy because it has a symbol for the Sudanese nation. In terms of war and the army, it will make the army more capable to reach any region and actually to manage to run the country smoothly.
But the capital, Khartoum, is where the true battle for Sudan's future is being fought. Once a vibrant hub of politics, commerce and culture, Khartoum stood proudly at the crossroads of Africa, where the white and blue Nile rivers converge. But the price of this battle has been devastating. It took us 15 hours to come from Port Sudan to Khartoum. No flights, no functional airport, just a long road. This city recently declared fully liberated after months of brutal war. To report from